Tonight, it's going to be Velocity Esports, your team in the red, facing off against vVv. Now, the former team Vex had a lot of hype surrounding them when they went through the summer promotion tournament, or the promotion tournament for next season of LCS. But coming into tonight's game versus Velocity, it's a game where a lot of people are actually putting Velocity as favored to win, which is a category they haven't necessarily been in all season.
Yeah, and we are seeing a 5-man group from respectively both sides. We don't see any wards dropped out early by either side, so no scouting done, and we're going to see red side invades be mirrored by both vVv and Velocity as they charge red on in and get their deep wards out. We could see wards dropped at the entrance of the red, at the wraiths for both sides, and they're going to go towards Tribrush, try to ping somebody out, try to catch anybody off guard and a little bit of surprise, but they're not. And vVv is getting their aggressive invade towards the Tribrush as they don't drop any wards by the red, which is surprising, and it will just back on out and send their bot lane to bot lane. Huh.
So we should actually see standard lanes this time around. I'd expect Velocity to be very confident in their 2v2, and with the duel already headed that way for Godshu, the new support for vVv, along with Tails, their kind of superstar, I feel like banning out 5 AD carry champions sent a very strong message. It was that this game shouldn't be defined by the AD carry role, but especially with a Corki first picked away, they had to know, or Velocity had to know, that they were giving away Elise to PorpoisePops. So while they might have taken a little bit of pressure away from Tails and denying him a lot of his champion pool, they put a very strong jungler in the hands of a very dynamic lineup from vVv.
Yeah, Elise jungle is always very sneaky. You have those repels, you have the cocoons to come in and close the distance, as well as stun out. And then a lot of percentage damage from Neurotoxin and Spike combination. We'll see if it comes to effect, as a 2v1 is initiated here by Velocity up against that top lane Lissandra. So they don't want to have the teleport come to effect. They don't want it to gank them, so they'll just put themselves in lane with it and try to counter it out, as Evaniskus has 11 AP. He also has 8% magic penetration, 8 magic penetration flat, and no armor penetration, so the auto attacks aren't going to hit as hard, but they'll still do a bit of damage, and we'll see how that lane plays out. While Renekton, Cris did Wolves, went back to base, he's almost level 2, and will be looking for potentially a 2v2 with Jarvan being NK to come to him, and Elise to go up top to Lissandra.
Now, this is actually going to work out really, really well for Cris, because not only did he almost hit level 2, he's going to walk into lane without having actually missed all that much lane experience, and will have that level 2 much earlier than get snuggled. Ooh. Well, he's going to get ignited. Flash is not necessary. He was worried about getting counter flashed on and just blown up, so he flashed prematurely, but now that flash is down, and without any help from PorpoisePops, who is still doing his jungle in the bottom half, gonna have to make it back to base. And so you see the different choices between the solo laners in these 1v2s. It's, when do I go back to base? Do I go back early and then have a stronger presence in lane when I get there? Or do I go back late after having been in lane and then come back with a little bit of a weaker presence? So different choices, Velocity with the early advantage.
Yep, Velocity gonna have that one down, have a lot of pressure, and he's still very low up top there. He used most of his potions and the flask, as he did go back to base and pick up some more potions and refill his flash charge, so teleport back on up there. Keep himself healthy. We do have NK getting up there, and Cris is getting harassed out by Godshu on that Nami with the Tyco's Blessing. We do see PorpoisePops hanging around the side there. NK is gonna throw the flag, spot him out, they ping it out, and now it'll force the side of Velocity's duo lane to back off a little bit. And this could be a 3v2 that could happen up top, while Tails and Godshu just keep shoving down this bot lane, excuse me.
Yeah, and Kha'Zix is just going to come up there, no sneakiness about it. He's going to sit top, dive the 2v3. Very, very low. CheesdBeluga has his flash ignite up. That's a flash ignite Q right there. Like, Pragmatic, he's going to have to rely very heavily on the flash charges. Hasn't used any of his sustain so far, so he's going to be able to get back to full health, but still, very aggressive play there by CheesdBeluga, definitely asserting his presence in that lane.
Yep, and he is going to have quite a big wave built up here. It's going to be a lot of mana for Pragmatic to clear this one out, an attack at a distance, and we will see if the tower will deny away some. He's using the auto attacks very well, using the extra damage he gets on that one. CheesdBeluga is rotating up top right now. This could be a 3v3 fight that vVv may start, but there is a ping that they are going to look to go in. Cocoon is down. He gets spotted out by a ward, and the side of Velocity are going to know, and they may still go for it, though. Are they going to do this? vVv, this is a very aggressive play that they're going to try to make out here. Evaniskus has a stun almost prepped up there. So I want to see if they will be able to do this. But down bot, Tails and Godshu have been having a field day down there, farming up a Storm as well as doing a lot of damage to this turret.
Cris actually doing a really good job at CSing, but still down in CS against Get Snuggled, who actually was able to use his teleport to make back the difference he had from being forced out of lane very early on. So keep in mind it is TP Lissandra's, so have a lot of potential for plays around the map, and we're gonna have to wait for that to come back up first before we see it really be a big factor. But now it's a 3v1, and after PorpoisePops and CheesdBeluga leave that top lane, it's just a straight up dive on Get Snuggled.
Oh, he does juke backwards, but Flag and Drag comes in. Who are they going to give the kill to? It looks like Evaniskus with the Incinerate picks it up, but the tower shot. Oh. Wow! Putting out, what, 10 HP? And NK flashes away, gets out of there in time. That's going to be first blood for Velocity with CheesdBeluga roaming up top once again. Here comes PorpoisePops. Is he going to be able to get in there? Repel? Can he get the Cocoon? Goes the Cocoon on Evaniskus and it connects. CheesdBeluga going to drop Ignite. Can they pick this one up? The Spiderling connects and picks up the kill. Venomous bite on the from Maple Street though. And that is going to be a trade-off as they go 1-for-1 overall. The gold advantage is still even. But down bot, Tails and Godshu have almost taken this turret down.
Yeah, they're very close to taking the turret down. You're going to see a little bit of a CS advantage, about 10 CS up for Tails. But Cris very healthy. As long as he gets this gank from NK Inc., he can not only save the turret, but maybe he puts a kill potential on Godshu.
Yep, as now NK Inc. is down there helping him out just a little bit. We do see no more potions available to Godshu, no more wards available to him as well. And Cris could look for this one as Godshu is low on mana. They could force a flash out. They could force a barrier or an ignite. He's slicing. He's not dicing. And he will force Tails to shift right on up there. But NK Inc. still showing the pressure and still looking to possibly make a play here.
NK Inc.'s gonna have a lot of kill pressure, just waiting for Cris to sustain himself back up. I feel like that has he's gotten his way back up to half health, but you can see Tails, he's just poking Cris little by little because he doesn't want him to be in dive range. Because if he's like above half HP, you know, 3/4 hit points, they can just walk underneath the tower and kind of do the same thing that Velocity already did in that top lane. But CheesdBeluga is just straight up fighting Pragmatic. Wow. 1Q takes off 1/4 of his health. Now Cris gonna get the stun down on Godshu. There's gonna be Ignite going in. Dominus down as well. Godshu hits the bubble, but is it enough? Godshu survives, and now it's Cris very low, but should be able to make it back alive.
Yeah, the bubble from Godshu was perfect. He went right on the dice. It stopped him from advancing any further. And if he would have been able to go through with that dice, he would have lived. I mean, he would have gotten the kill, actually. Cris would have gotten the kill there. We do see a True Shot Barrage connect with Cris, so he gets hit by that one. His back gets slayed a little bit. And that annoyance does come through. There's a ping onto PorpoisePops, who's making his way up top. But does back on off as a ward does spot him out. And now NK Inc. is going to take his spot in the bot lane with Cris. And is going to hit level 6, has Cataclysm now. And with no flash on Godshu, that could be the sign to make a play. Well, up top, they might be able to take out this turret, but the wave clear coming in from Get Snuggled is pretty heavy, as Lissandra does have a lot of good AoE in her kit.
Now, a couple of big things to notice. One thing you'd see Faker do a lot is he'll be going up against an AD assassin, and he'll build Chalice of Harmony, which you shouldn't be able to get away with, because look at this, he has magic resistance, he needs armor, CheesdBeluga flashes in. And that's why you can't build magic resistance versus a Kha'Zix. You need the Seeker's Arm Guard.
Taste
great
fear.
Assassination. Yeah, definitely tasting the fear. Probably the rainbow at the same time. Got you in a little bit of trouble bottom.
Yeah, the Cataclysm coming in. Just like I said, there's the bubble. Getting him through the slice. Can they pick up the kill, though? Godshu with a perfect bubble gets out of there. And here comes the flank, though, as vVv are looking to capitalize on the overextend. There's still no flash on Jarvan down there. Gets Snuggle getting poked out. But there is PorpoisePops coming in. Gets the Cocoon on NK Inc. It's going to be the jump in and taste the fear. And Tails with the Mystic Shot picking up 1 kill as Cris will get out of there. And evolving those claws first is just so strong on Kha'Zix, especially after all the changes that they did to him. And now, are they going to actually pressure a dragon here? They drop a pink ward, clear it out, and they're going to do it. They're going to try to get this dragon.
Yeah, CheesdBeluga has incredible damage on single targets, especially with that evolved Taste Their Fear. So nobody there to contest, and especially after killing off NK Inc., there's no smite. It's a pretty free objective. First dragon of the game goes to vVv. Now, another thing to note is that in the jungle, PorpoisePops is actually doing the AF Bella build. If you've ever watched No Dice Gaming play before, their RF Legendaries team, he does that all the time. He'll start out with Doran's Ring and Boots, and it just gives him a little bit of extra kill potential. You see a lot of Doran's Blade
Cris
starts
down bot.
but
going out to Godshu right now. Dominus comes in. He's got the extra rage. Heals up a little bit. Auto attack picks it up. Can he take down Tails too? Renekton, he gets the extra bit of rage and just backs on out of there. Doesn't want to eat too much poke. Has another Call the Meek available. There we go. Heals up for 146.
Oh my god.
Up top though, stun connects. Rocket's coming out, Incinerate, putting a lot of harass under they get snuggled, and this turret is gonna fall.
Yeah, turret, it's going to take another minion wave before it goes down, but you can see gets snuggled, he has the sustain. He went double Duran's rings into double cloth armor, so he's going to look for a Zhonya's Hourglass, but I'm still waiting to see any form of defensive stats on Fragnatic that are going to help him against CheesdBeluga. So, I mean, when you look at the Void Spike, it does physical damage. Everything in his kit does physical damage, and so that would seem to me to mean armor, but to Fragnatic, he's like, hey, I need that Athene's Unholy Grail, so he's going more for the team fight kind of build, but it's still going to have a pretty big impact in his lane phase.
Yep, and now we are seeing Cris being very sneaky. He sees Godshu come in, he's like, do I do it? He's gonna slice, he goes back in on the Tails, gets the stun, ignites, get a dice as well, forcing out the shift, and Tails will be able to hold on to his flash and his barrier thanks to Godshu's bubbles. Those bubbles have been on point.
Yeah,
that is
I think he's
that you
3 for
need
3
to.
in fights so far.
Yeah, double bubble coming in, a nice bubble through a dice, and just perfect Nami mechanics.
Alright, the minor correction is that unfortunately, at least unfortunately for me in my predictions, Kha'Zix's passive does deal magic damage, so
yes.
Being that as it will, I think the point still stands. Buying a Chalice of Harmony to negate the passive damage from Kha'Zix probably still isn't going to work out all that well. Big deal to note, Cris in a narrow 1v1 is going to take a trip back to base very low. But
Dive
top
up
the dive.
Coming in, the Ignite and auto attack coming in from MapleStreet picks up the kill. Can PorpoisePops get out of here? Flash out of the Cataclysm. There is going to be the Cocoon to stop him. The big one does not connect. They let him get out of there. And Kank is hanging around, gets spotted out by the minion flag and the dragon over the wall. PorpoisePops gonna repel, but cannot get down. He did have CheesdBeluga coming up top. He does get spotted out by a ward. They will continue to run to the turret, get out of there just fine, and it will be a 1-for-1 training the support for the top laner. And Corki picking up a kill is always a good thing, as now he has a Sheen, and does he have a Phage? He does have enough for a Phage when he does go back.
So Corki will probably be going the same Trinity Force build. Kind of the same thing for Tails, but he took a little bit of a detour through the tier of the goddess, and whether or not we see the early mana moon, it's really just about controlling that power spike. If you need early attack damage, you go back and you pick up the mana moon. If you want to stick around for the smaller itemizations into the big Trinity Force spike that happens a little bit later on, then you can keep building that way up. And oh my goodness,
wow.
Cris just full clears that way, picks up a ton of gold. He's gonna have that Sunfire Cape when he decides to go back, but keeps the farm alive, or I guess keeps it dead and continues farming. Now it's gonna go for a blue and probably set that one up for Fragnatic.
Yep, and the lanes are going to be swapped around. Cris is going to help him get a blue like you just said, and Evaniskus from MapleStreet going to feel very confident in this lane. Tails is just using that shift and the Mystic shots to harass. He is being relentless with those. We do see him have the tie colors. Cris actually not going to rotate up top. He's going to keep himself bottom. Evaniskus with no flash won't be able to close the distances yet. Timbers is up in a couple seconds. Can he get in there? He's just skipping his way downtown, and Cris is not going to dive, but Evaniskus not getting in range, still holds nothing to stun. And Cris will just keep the pressure in the bot lane.
Great reaction to the ward coverage. A lot of times teams will have wards out, but then they won't be able to react in time when the gank comes through. We saw it a couple of times early when CheesdBeluga tried to roam. Didn't work out. Great ward coverage that time from Velocity. This time around is actually vVv's wards that didn't really give them a lot of advanced information, but as soon as they had that, were able to back off. Burn Godshu's flash, but even still, Cris coming in from the side. Flank coming down onto vVv. Dumps down.
Timbers comes out, Godshu gets stunned. That is going to be a dead fish, as now Snuggle did ult himself to get some damage out. Cannot pick up the kill from MapleStreet. Tails is out of mana. Cris is chasing this one down. There's a stun coming in from the Incinerate. Evaniskus is going to help him with that. Timbers, are you going to do it? No, he is not. Cris comes in the backline, no, flashing and slicing. Can he pick up the kill? He gets it with the stun, and now he's going to be the backline. Call the Meek. He's going to get some rage with the auto attacks. Heal up with the Call the Meek. Gonna get hit by a Mystic shot, now be forced to run away. The tier is giving Tails quite a bit of mana back. Can he pick up the kill? Can he snipe it out? CheesdBeluga isn't responding. PorpoisePops gonna be looking to zone around. Flash in from Tails, he slices. Here's Evaniskus on the side to keep him a little bit safe there. Cris is looking to turn this one around though.
This if they want, but there's a ward that push for Tails.
Tails actually hits the Mystic shot again, as now Cris is gonna be running towards the red. We do see Evaniskus gonna get jumped on here. Uh-oh. Here comes a spider and I don't know what he is, a grasshopper. coming in. The Ignite comes out, the stun comes through. He repels away from the turret aggro, gets out, and the tidal wave from Godshu picked up the kill. Or was the turret shot out for an auto attack, and Godshu picks up the kill on Cris. And that is going to be a 2 for none, as the turret in the mid lane does fall.
Yeah, I'm unsure why Cris couldn't have just like run straight up instead of trying to go through those turrets, but even still, went down. Wasn't the biggest counter trade. The thing that actually kind of surprised me is that the dive down bottom, Evaniskus did fall to that. So Velocity lose 2 off of a nice one-man dive, but still gonna keep things, at least the kills, in favor of vVv. They're down 2 turrets though, and those are the big objectives they will need to take back. Dragon's up though, so could start things off there, but CheesdBeluga getting the stun there. And that's gonna give Kha'Zix his passive there. The amplified damage is going deep underneath the turret, gets the kill, backs out.
Wow, that Taste the Fear just coming in big, but here comes the rest of Velocity right now. The ball gets dropped, the shockwave connects on to get Snugglez. CheesdBeluga turns around, bursts from MapleStreet a little bit, gets Snugglez, gonna get taken out by Cris, who's in the backline, pops the Dominus. The repel is gonna keep PorpoisePops alive for a little while, but there is the Foster's Bomb and auto attacks from MapleStreet to put him on a killing spree. Cris is getting chased down. He's going to make him pay for killing him behind the turret. He's going to respond with a dive, but the Tycall is busting going to slow him down, and Cris will back off. Let that fish live for a little while. And that is going to be a 3 for 1 overall, as now the tier 1 in the bot lane is most likely going to fall.
Now for Mr. Tibbers, his role is a rather unhappy one. He gets to tank the turret up, sacrifice his life for the noble cause. There are no gentlemen among bears anymore, as he will fall over dead, but so will the bottom turret, the third and final outer turret of the game. Going down for Velocity, and with an equal amount of speed and direction, giving them not only their name, but a lot of objectives so far. With all 3 outer turrets down, and a 3,000 gold lead, they're going to take a trip back to base. True Shot Barrage delays Chris's trip out there, so he probably will stick around for just a little bit longer, but like we saw in game number 1, Renektons, when they get huge, can completely change team fights. Yeah. This time around, he's actually a little bit behind Lissandra in CS, but he has picked himself up 3 kills and 3 assists as well, and is now going to be a big deal for Velocity at trying to stop this Dragon attempt from vVv. Can't make it in time.
Nope, PorpoisePops picks it up with the smite. We're going to see a pink ward get dropped out there. They're going to look to clear that up from the side of Velocity. We do have a nice build coming in from CheesdBeluga, looking for the Ravenous Hydra with that Tiamat, and then rushing a last Whisper to penetrate through the armorless mid lane as well as the jungle and the support and AD carry. So dealing a ton of damage with Taste of Fear, dealing a ton of damage with his passive as well. And 3 outer turrets are gone from the side of Velocity, from the side of vVv though. Velocity capitalizing on all of that right now, as vVv still have yet to find their foot in the door. They can't find themselves putting the foot in the door just yet. They cannot push through these outer turrets.
And with a very elegant style, VES have been able to not only take down the last outer ring of turrets, but they've also given themselves a pretty strong presence in this lower jungle. Could catch in on to get Snuggled. Cris can dive this if that's what they need. Evaniskus has the flash engage from Tibbers. Yet Snuggled taken down low underneath his turret. NKE coming down from the other side. Cris just melts him, runs him over, walks back out, and once again, Tibbers versus turret. We'll see who wins this time. That command attack distance is just blowing up Lissandra right there, as well as the help of Tibbers. Tails with the red buff. Gonna look to duel from MapleStreet, but getting out quite hard. And Tibbers lives in the bot lane, I guess, but Tails getting chunked out in the mid lane. As now we do see a flank coming in their jungle. Evaniskus has a Oracle, so there's a pink ward to help clear out the ward at the Wraiths. You're gonna see a True Shot Barrage help clear out mid lane. And Tibbers just hanging around with Annie. All right, that's what I like to see. So we preserved Tibbers for just a little bit longer. He's going to be in this bush for just a little bit. Won't have the engage from the Annie ult, but will be able to use it to chest brushes, although not anymore, since Tibbers meets his untimely demise. You know, there comes a time for all things, but for Tibbers, he'll be back around in about 50 seconds. Yeah, so we'll see him again. As now, they're just waiting. They're hanging around by the red buff. They want to counter jungle this one or try to pick somebody off, but no one from inside of vVv is biting, as Oracles from Evaniskus is clearing out the wards. They're probably baiting him. They're baiting him right now. Tails comes in, drops a red buff slow. Tails is going to follow this one up. Evaniskus cannot turn around, but CheesdBeluga assassinates Evaniskus, jumping in the back line right now. Taste the Fear comes in the auto attacks, and Tails picks up the kill, as that is a last Whisper Kha'Zix that has his Unseen Predator passive, and just destroying that poor little Annie and that Orianna. The unseen predator is the deadliest, and definitely CheesdBeluga in that case. Just absolutely massacred Evaniskus and Fragnatic. There was no tippers to protect her that time, and so Evaniskus, unfortunately, not where he wanted to be. No ult to contribute, and it's going to mean the mid turret and the first turret of the game going to Vision, Valor, and Victory, and they're going to limit the Vision just a little bit more as they will get a trip through Velocity's top jungle, but it's Godshu, no fear, gets the bubble onto Cris. Damage from CheesdBeluga. I don't care how tanky you are, Cris is not gonna have a good time. Tails taking him out.
Yep, and speaking of having a good time, frommaplestreet gets chunked out there a little bit, forced the Valkyrie away, and a really good bubble. That Nami play is coming in fantastically for Godshu right there. Spot on with those bubbles, and now they could potentially look to grab their their second turn of the game in that top lane, as they did clear out the middle one just recently, and look to try to take a minimal gold lead after taking the turret.
It's especially interesting to me that during the pick and ban phase, we had 5 AD carries banned in a desperate attempt to try to limit some degree of effectiveness from either AD carry in both of these teams. But with 3 kills and 0 deaths apiece, no matter what AD carry you put them on, both Tails and maplestreet are both having very, very big games. Trinity Force is complete for both of them. Tier's going to be finished up a little bit later on, maybe after a Bloodthirster, maybe a Last Whisper to come out there for Tails, but either way should be the straight double penetration there from maplestreet, picking up Sorcerer's Shoes as well as a Last Whisper to come out next. Should be a Death Cap next for Fragnatic, but I still haven't seen Azanya's Hourglass, and CheesdBeluga is just looking at that and he's like, all right, I got lunch money for the rest of this game. There's nothing to keep Orianna alive, and in both of these last team fights, Fragnatic just blows up.
Yeah, and he's also picking up, he's not rushing the Ravenous Hydra just yet, he's sitting on the Tiamat. He's got plenty of damage with that one. He's going for what looks like a Maul Mortis with that Hex Drinker, as well as the shield it'll provide him to take off some of that Orianna damage and any damage. He's got Boots of Lucidity as well to help out with his Q cooldown and his W cooldown, as well as the leap. It's reset after a kill, but if you do use it, it will. If you use it and you don't get a kill or assist, it won't reset. And with Lucidity, it'll help out with that. But now we have a 5-man group coming in from the side of Velocity. While Get Snuggled did just push down the tier 1 in the bot lane, Tails is getting spotted out there. We do have 5 members of Velocity looking to push down the tier 2 in the top lane, as vVv let Get Snuggled push.
Tails just using that Arcane Shift to barely get out alive. Is going to face a very strong push in here from Fragnatic, Evaniskus, and maplestreet, but gets a little bit of backup from Godshu and PorpoisePops with CheesdBeluga there for the damage in behind. Teleports up from Get Snuggled, and his split push is being incredibly effective. And now Velocity are actually backing, giving Snuggled the opportunity to get a ton of damage down on that bottom turret. Now all vVv have to do is keep Velocity from backing all the way up. They do unfortunately let NK Inc. and Fragnatic make it back to base, but Fragnatic's actually going to go back top lane and just leave NK Inc. to stop the split push from Get Snuggled. I actually don't think Snuggled is too afraid of NK Inc. right now, so should still stay down there and look to split push.
Yep, word's going to get dropped out from Godshu right now. He's going to place them all over the place. CheesdBeluga coming in. There's a cocoon onto Cris. The ball gets applied. He's going to slice. Is he going to dice, though? He actually just backs right on out with the dice. The bubble comes out, not going to connect. And 4 members of Velocity now are going to defend up top here. Cris looking to go back, possibly, and maybe help out with the bot lane. But there is a ping onto Dragon, and vVv are going to look to control that objective, as the spikes do end up hitting the red buff. They did stand on top of a ward, and who is going to grab it up? PorpoisePops. Are they going to give it to Tails? They are, and Tails steals away a red buff from maplestreet.
All right, even though we won't see the classic blue build Ezreal come out anymore, we are going to have kind of the same idea. The red buff will proc on every Mystic shot there from Tails, but is it going to be enough to kite away the incredible engage from Velocity's team composition? They love to live up to their name and just run extremely rapidly down into their opponents, and as soon as they just barrel through, they have a great team comp for doing that. The only problem is that there's a lot of kite ability from vVv. They can send Snuggled in. There's a Renekton ult before the fight even starts.
Whoa! And here comes Get Snuggled. The ultimate goes on top of Fragnatic. He gets blown up right away. CheesdBeluga goes down as well. And they're chasing on it from maplestreet. The Spiderling picks it up. Can Get Snuggled go on to Evaniskus? Drops the shard and picks it up. Now, with 4 members of vVv still alive and healthy, Miramana completed actually for Tails, laying in a ton of damage with those auto attacks. Mystic shot, auto attack. PorpoisePops picks it up. And the Dragon as well. Who did that go over to? I didn't even see, as it was NK Inc. fighting that one away. So Dragon for Velocity, but they trade 4 lives to 1 for it.
And keep in mind, that's one of Velocity's first dragons of the game. They kind of stayed away from that objective, gave it over to vVv consistently, and just went for turrets instead. There was a point in time where Velocity were up 3 turrets to 0 for vVv, and just once again, that huge mid-game power spike right around the 22 to 23 minute mark is what vVv do every single game. They stick it out through the early game, and then they just bop you at the 20-minute mark, and you're just like, whoa, where'd that come from? And you can see Velocity are kind of reeling. They got the dragon, they're like, all right, we got the objective we came for, but then they just completely lost the team fight. Get Snuggled, coming up, huge teleport in that fight, picked up a double kill, and now it's a kill lead and a gold lead for vVv.
Yeah, and Kha'Zix in the late game is a true terror. He can literally one-shot your AD carry if he does have the items to do it, which he is building towards, as well as he can just also burst you away and force you to be zoned out. You saw him just destroy Fragnetic with the help of the Glacial Tomb coming in from Get Snuggled, and that's what we can see most of the time. If they want to go for Fragnetic or for frommaplestreet, they use that Lissandra ultimate and they just pick off the targets that they want to get.
So for right now, what are those targets?
Ooh,
Dan,
Fragnetic!
All right.
Hello.
Way to answer my question there. CheesdBeluga going in, takes Fragnetic down to below half. You can see he has an Amplifying Tome, and if that Amplifying Tome is anything but Azania's Hourglass stand, I am going to be really frustrated. I mean, Fragnetic, he has a ton of damage to dish out in these team fights, and he's going to be able to get it down. The only problem is, I mean, tell me the way you feel about that. He's just getting taken down every single team fight. He's basically like a walking reset for CheesdBeluga.
Yeah, so if he doesn't build that Amp Tome into his Seekers, into his Azonias, I'll question everything, ever. And if he goes for a Void Staff, he'll have a lot of damage, but he'll still be blown up. I'm not sure. We'll see how the build evolves. And speaking of evolves, what has CheesdBeluga actually gone for? He's gone for the jump and for the claws, so a lot of reset and damage potential from that. We do have the ball applied to NK Inc. right now. Ping's going out all over the place. NK Inc. looking for Tails. Tails spotting him out with a Mystic Shot. And a double buffed up Ezreal is something you don't want to ever see. The Mirror Mana is fully stacked. He's going for, it looks like, a Blade of the Rune King next. And Evaniskus with that Oracles has been clearing out Baron Pit and denying them quite a lot of vision.
One thing that Velocity could be trying to do is say, hey, if we build defensively, there's no way we'll have enough damage to win these team fights, because their team fights are very all-in. So what they want to do is say, hey, backline, just build a crazy amount of damage. We'll tank things up in the front line and just give you guys the peel that you need to make up for not having those damage items. The only problem is, it hasn't worked just yet. Fragnetic gonna get cocooned out there, taken down half HP before the fight even starts. Huge command shockwave. Zon is out there from Get Snuggled. Keeps him alive while vVv continues to clean it out.
CheesdBeluga in the backline does pick off Fragnetic. He's going to go for NK, who jumps on top of him. Stun comes out from Evaniskus, though. He gets the ebb and flow. He heals. Tails is going wild. Gonna go into the backline. Bubble connects into Evaniskus. He is dead. CheesdBeluga snaps that one up with those claws, and now this could be an inhibitor in favor of vVv, forcing Velocity to go back to heal. As frommaplestreet finishes up a last whisper, we see the attack speed buff being applied to them with the W from Ezreal, and now the turret is going to fall after PorpoisePops tanks it, and Inhibitor is going to go down now, as we'll see if Velocity can either pick up a kill or hold this one. They will not be able to, and vVv, after a very long time, finally get their push on and take an Inhibitor and 3 kills.
A very, very, very long time, and it almost felt like I was watching what Velocity's team comp should have done being done by vVv, because when you look at Velocity, they have 5 people on their team that excel at moving in one direction. You just click on the enemy nexus and you keep walking there, and if anything gets in your way, you mow it down with Renekton, you put an Orianna ball on top of him and get a huge initiate with either Cris or NK Inc., and then you just have huge poke damage from MapleStreet and a nice engage or counter engage from Evaniskus as well. So their team fight is designed to walk into teams, but that time it was actually vVv pushing Velocity out of their comfort zone into their own base and just picking them off one by one. CheesdBeluga, great buy in the Hex Drinker, saved his life, kept him in that fight. And, well, you see the results of that 6-2-6 with a couple hundred CS under his belt as well.
Yeah, and Merc Treads was actually picked up, as well as he actually sold the Boots of Lucidity to pick up Merc Treads from the side of CheesdBeluga, and now has a Brutalizer, so has all the penetration he can need. And we will see if he goes for a Black Cleaver next, or goes for the Maul Mortis, or for his Ravenous Hydra. He's got those 3 items to build into a tier 3. And Tails, almost having the Blade of the Rune King, has a lot of gold in his inventory, and that Mirror Mana is just laying into the enemy team right now, as we see the Cloth Armors coming in from both J4 and Fragnetic, so that Zhonya's Hourglass is going to be coming in soon for Fragnetic. All right, well, we're going to see as Velocity group up here in the mid lane. They're pigging on. They have the Oracles for Evaniskus. He's going to clear out what he can. And they couldn't make a play for Baron. They could try to bait it out, but Get Snugglez is going to keep on pushing down this bot lane. And the ward comes out, does spot out Fragment going back to base. We could see vVv actually rotate towards this bot lane, clear out the tier 2. They are feeling strong. Kha'Zix is huge at this point. Clearly the Rune King was picked up for Tails. And Velocity have to respond, or this turret is going to fall. It is very low. Blue buff picked up by CheesdBeluga now. So going to have a lot of mana to himself, a lot of CDR. Going to help him out quite a bit. Got Snugglez laughing to the camera as if he knows it's on him. And Dragon going to go to vVv.
That is going to be, I believe, their third dragon of the game. Yes, they will take it down, and as they move to their next objective, you got to look towards Baron. They've taken down every single outer turret except the top one, and while they could push in for that top turret instead of Baron, they're going to clear out the ward coverage and make it a really rough decision for Velocity to make. Do they stay in their base to defend the open inhibitor? Do they defend their top turret, or do they try to stop this Baron from vVv?
Oh, Tails goes over the wall now. They're committed. vVv trying to do this one. CheesdBeluga healing up a little bit off those spikes. And Vest doesn't really have an idea. Gets Dr. Snuggled is just up top right now, flagging and dragging. NK steals it!
What on earth are you doing?
Steals it blind
NK Inc.
from vVv and game changer.
Okay, alright, we gotta give some pros here. NK Inc., not only was it blind, he had the split second to decide whether or not to go in based on nothing but vision from dropping the Demacian standard inside. Gets in, it's not even like he's Lee Sin, he's going up against both CheesdBeluga and PorpoisePops, who have percentage max HP damage executes on their Qs. How do you outsmite that? I don't know, but NK Inc.'s got the secrets, man.
Just give this man a medal. Please, he's such a consistent jungler for Velocity. He's so good at what he does. Now, Superman's pushing down this mid lane. The inhibitor is going to be spawning in the next couple minutes. Black Cleaver completed for CheesdBeluga, as well as a Death Cap for Get Snuggled. And Oracle's Elixir now refreshed for Godshu. So, Baron of Velocity.
And more importantly, it's not just that there's a Baron on Velocity, it's that NK Inc. jumped into 5 people, Smote stole a Baron away from 2 high damage executes and a smite, and then got out alive. So now there's Baron buff on all 5 members. Velocity completely turning this game around. They're still down 6,000 gold, so it's not as complete of a turnaround as you'd expect, but still, it makes up for a lot of gold deficit in stats and does give Velocity the power spike that they need in this mid game to at least hang on and give themselves another fighting chance.
Yeah, and we just see the True Shot Rush come out. Doesn't connect with Evaniskus. It looked like the target for that one. The inhibitor is respawning. Get Snuggled. Oh, I just want to keep calling him Doctor. Is going to keep on pushing down to that bot lane towards the inhibitor turret. We are going to see the backs be halted here by vVv as they want to keep pressuring this one down. Tails not turning off the Mirror Mana, though, getting a lot of his mana soaked up by that ward. And the flank is going to come in. Dr. Snuggled is going to have to make a decision here. Where is he going to go as 3 members of Velocity were waiting around the corner? He's in a glacial path back into the base. Dissonance comes through. Oh, wow, the stun connect with that fireball from Evaniskus. He Zonias. He is going to die, though. frommaplestreet picks it up. And a good stun from Evaniskus over the wall there. I didn't even think that was going to hit. But they're going to lose a tier 2 up top.
So trading a kill for a turret, it's a great trade, but at this point in the game, things are starting to get to that point where it doesn't matter what you get. If you lose anybody on your team, it's too much of a disadvantage to overcome. Now, for Velocity, that pick was huge for a couple of reasons. A, they can now, at 4v5, significantly push down any objective they want. They're going to shove the mid lane, and I love that choice because now with all 3 inhibitors up, they don't have super minions to worry about. They can just go about their business as usual, knowing that for a change, they are in the lead so far. So they had the turret advantage going through most of the early game. They were up 3-0 at some point, and then vVv just went on an 8-1 turret rampage. Had a huge mid-game power spike, but now Cocoon onto Cris underneath the turret. Bubble as well, getting locked up, but he's just too big for vVv to initiate on.
Yeah, and they just gave up another turret there. We're seeing Velocity claw back into this one. They're slowly catching him in gold, only down by about 6,000. And that inhibitor is exposed mid. vVv could wait for Baron and then Baron to fade and then try to push down the mid lane and get that open inhib. They're going to give blue over to Tails and let him be able to be the sieging monster that he is. He's got the makings of a Iceborne Gauntlet next? Possibly? Yes. Yes.
All right, so I mean, I'd expect the Frozen Heart just because you don't want to doubly stack up your Rage or your Spellblade passive from both the Trinity Force and Iceborne Gauntlets. But hey, if you just need to stay alive, if you need a kiting item on almost any AD carry, Iceborne Gauntlets a good item to get. But
they can go for Bloodthirster. Now it gets more lifesteal with the Blade of the Rune King, or a Infinity's Edge, or GA. We'll see. Now, grouping up vVv, they feel strong, they feel confident, they're going to have a doubled up Ezreal, who can push down this mid lane. He is farming the jungle all over the place. He's got 355 CS at 35 minutes. He is on that perfect CS route. He is on the CS route. He's already on the perfect CS street, and is just a farming beast. 120 over from Maple Street.
right now, Cris, there's actually Evaniskus getting chunked out there all the way over the wall. So much damage coming out from Tails. Double buffed up as well as the Tidecaller's Blessing. He's going to be able to Arcane Shift away as a stun. Tidal Wave to disengage, but it's PorpoisePops going in.
That prom queen is dethroned as CheesdBeluga picks up that kill. Cataclysm coming in. Dr. Snugglez picks up 1 kill. Godshu picks up Chris's kill. That is going to be 4 for none in favor of vVv, who finally collapsed in. Double kill for Lissandra, and that is going to be GG's called out as the game is going to go to vVv over Velocity. And they get the ace.
Yeah, there's